Act 3. Scene. The same double drawing room in Miss Symperson's house. Belvawney has been singing to Belinda and Minnie.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Belvawney. How sweetly pretty that is. Where can I get it?
How marvellous is the power of melody over the soul that is fretted and harassed by anxiety and doubt. I can understand how valuable must have been the troubadours of old in the troublous times of anarchy. Your song has soothed me, sir.
I am indeed glad to think that I have comforted you a little, dear ladies.
Dear Mr. Belvawney, I don't know what we should have done without you. What with your sweet songs, your amusing riddles, and your clever conjuring tricks, the weary days of waiting have passed like a delightful dream.
It is impossible to be dull in the society of one who can charm the soul with plaintive ballads one moment, and the next roll a rabbit and a guinea pig into one.
You make me indeed happy, dear ladies, but my joy will be of brief duration, for Cheviot may return at any moment with the news that the fatal cottage was in Scotland, and then, oh, Belinda, what is to become of me?
How many issues depend on that momentous question? Has Belvawney 1,000 a year, or is he ruined? Has your godmother that convenient addition to her income, or has she not? May Maggie marry Angus, or will her claim on Cheviot be satisfied? Are you to be his cherished bride, or are you destined to a life of solitary maidenhood? Am I Cheviot's honoured wife, or am I but a broken-hearted and desolate spinster? Who can tell? Who can tell?
Belvawney walks over to the window.
Here is a cab with luggage. It is Cheviot. He has returned with the news. Ladies, one word before I go. One of you will be claimed by Cheviot. That is very clear. To that one, whichever it may be, I do not address myself, but to the other, whichever it may be, I say, I love you, whichever you are, with a fervour which I cannot describe in words. If you, whichever you are, will consent to cast your lot with mine, I will devote my life to proving that I love you, and you only, whichever it may be, with a single-hearted and devoted passion, which preludes the possibility of my ever entertaining the slightest regard for any other woman in the whole world. I thought I would mention it. Good morning.
Belvawney exits.
How beautifully he expresses himself. He is indeed a rare and radiant being.
Oh, Belinda, the terrible moment is at hand.
Minnie, if dear Cheviot should prove to be my husband, swear to me that that will not prevent your coming to stop with us, with dear Cheviot and me, whenever you can.
Indeed, I will. And if it should turn out that dear Cheviot is at liberty to marry me, promise me that that will not prevent you looking on our house, on dear Cheviot's and mine, as your home.
I swear it. We will be like dear, dear sisters.
Cheviot enters, carrying a suitcase.
Cheviot, tell me at once, are you my own husband?
Cheviot, speak. Is poor little simple Minnie to be your bride?
Minnie, the hope of my heart, my pet fruit tree. Belinda, my past, my present, and my to come. I have sorry news indeed.
Sorry news? Then I am not his wife.
Sorry news? Then she is his wife.
My dear girls, my very dear girls, my journey has been fruitless. I have no information.
What? No information?
None. The McGillicuddy has gone abroad.
Oh, no.
What a tragedy. More weary waiting. More weary waiting.
Oh, my breaking heart. Oh, my poor bruised and breaking heart.
We must be patient, dear Belinda. Minnie, my own, we must be patient. After all, is the situation so very terrible? Each of you has an even chance of becoming my wife, and in the meantime I look upon myself as engaged to you both. I shall make no distinction. I shall love you both fondly, and you shall both love me. My affection shall be divided equally between you, and we will be as happy as three little birds.
You are very kind and thoughtful, dear Cheviot.
I believe, in my simple little way, that you are the very best man in the whole world.
Oh, no.
Ah, but do let me think so. It makes me so happy to think so.
Does it? Well, be it so. Perhaps I am. And now tell me, how has the time passed since I left? Have my darlings been dull?
We should have been dull indeed, but for the airy Belvawney. The sprightly creature has done his best to make the lagging hours fly. He is an entertaining rattlesnake. I should say rattletrap.
Oh, is he so? Belvawney has been making the hours fly, has he? I'll make him fly when I catch him.
His conjuring tricks are wonderful.
Confound his conjuring tricks.
Have you seen him bring a live hen, 2 hairbrushes, and 1.5 pounds of fresh butter out of his pocket handkerchief?
No, I have not had the advantage.
It is a thrilling sight.
I should be disposed to imagine. Pretty goings-on in my absence. You seem to forget that you 2 girls are engaged to be married to me.
Ah, Cheviot, do not judge us harshly. We love you with a reckless fervour that thrills us to the very marrow, don't we, darling? But the hours crept heavily without you, and when, to lighten the gloom in which we were plunged, the kindly creature swallowed a live rabbit and brought it out, smothered in onions, from his left boot, we could not choose but smile. The good soul has promised to teach me the trick.
Has he? That's his confounded impudence. Now, once for all, I'll have nothing of this kind. One of you will be my wife, and until I know which, I will permit no Belvawneying of any kind whatever, or anything approaching thereto. When it is settled, the other may Belvawney until she is black in the face.
And how long have we to wait before we shall know which of us may begin Belvawneying?
I can't say. It may be some time. The McGillicuddy's gone to Central Africa. No one can reach him. He will not return for 6 years.
6 years? Oh, I cannot wait 6 years. Why, in 6 years I shall be 28.
6 years? Why, in 6 years the statute of limitations will come in, and he can renounce us both.
True, you are quite right. Cheviot, I have loved you madly, desperately, as other woman never loved other man. This poor inexperienced child, who clings to me as the ivy clings to the oak, also loves you as woman never loved before. Even that poor cottage maiden, whose rustic heart you so recklessly enslaved, worships you with a devotion that has no parallel in the annals of the heart. In return for all this unalloyed affection, all we ask of you is that you will recommend us to a respectable solicitor.
But, my dear children, reflect. I can't marry all 3. I am most willing to consider myself engaged to all 3, and that's as much as the law will allow. You see, I do all I can. I'd marry all 3 of you with pleasure, if I might, but as the law stands at present, I'm sorry to say, I'm very, very sorry to say, it's out of the question.
Cheviot exits.
Poor fellow, he has my tenderest sympathy. But we have no alternative but to place ourselves under the protecting aegis of a jury of our countrymen.
Miss Symperson enters, carrying 2 letters.
Minnie, Miss Treherne, the post has just brought me 2 letters. One of them bears a Marseille postmark, and is, I doubt not, from the McGillicuddy. He must have written just before starting for Central Africa.
From the McGillicuddy? Oh, read.
Oh, madam, how can you torture us by this delay? Have you no curiosity?
Well, my dear, very little on this point. You see, it don't matter much to me whom Cheviot marries, so that he marries someone. That's enough for me. But, however, your anxiety is natural, and I will gratify it.
Miss Symperson opens the letter and begins to read aloud.
Madam, in reply to your letter, I have to inform you that Evan Cottage is certainly in England. The deed related to the property place this beyond all question.
In England?
This blow is indeed a crusher. Against such a blow, I cannot stand up.
Oh, my poor Belinda, my darling sister, love. Oh, forgive me. Oh, forgive me. Don't look like that. Speak to me, dearest. Oh, speak to me. Speak to me.
Speak to you? Yes, I'll speak to you. All is not yet lost. True, he is not married to me. But why should he not be? I am as young as you. I am as beautiful as you. I have more money than you. I will try. Oh, how hard I will try.
Do, darling. And I wish, oh, how I wish you may get him.
Minnie, if you were not the dearest little friend I have in the world, I could pinch you.
Belinda exits.
Dear me, how terrible.
Miss Symperson has been reading the other letter.
What is terrible, dear godmother?
Belvawney writes to tell me that the indestructible bank stopped payment yesterday, and Cheviot's shares are waste paper.
Well, upon my word, there's an end of him.
An end of him? What do you mean? You are not going to throw him over?
Dear godmother, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but unless your tomtit is very much mistaken, the indestructible was not registered under the Joint Stock Companies Act of '62. and in that case the shareholders are jointly and severally liable to the whole extent of their available capital. Poor little Minnie don't pretend to have a business head, but she's not quite such a little donkey as that, dear godmother.
You declined to marry him. Do I hear rightly?
I don't know, godmother, whether your hearing is as good as it was, but from your excited manner, I should say you heard me perfectly.
Minnie exits.
This is a pretty business. Done out of 1,000 a year and by my own goddaughter. What a terrible thing is this incessant craving after money. Upon my word, some people seem to think that they are sent into the world for no other purpose but to acquire wealth, and by Jove, they'll sacrifice their nearest and dearest relationships to get it. It is most humiliating. Most humiliating.
Cheviot enters in low spirits and throws himself down onto a chair.
Oh, Auntie Symperson, have you heard the news?
Yes, I have heard the news, and a pretty man of business you are to invest all your property in an unregistered company.
Auntie, don't you turn against me. Belinda is not my wife. I'm a ruined man. And my darlings, my 3 darlings, whom I love with fidelity, which in these easy-going days is simply quixotic, will have nothing to say to me. Minnie, your goddaughter, declines to accompany me to the altar. Belinda, I feel sure, will revert to Belvawney, and Maggie is at this present moment hanging around the neck of that Scotch idiot, although she knows by doing so is simply torturous. Auntie, I never loved 3 girls as I loved those 3. Never, never! And now they'll all 3 slip through my fingers. I'm sure they will.
Pooh, sir. Do you think nobody loses but you? Why, I'm done out 1,000 a year by it.
Oh, for that matter, Auntie, I've a very vivid idea that you won't have to wait long for the money.
What do you mean? Oh, of course. I understand.
Eh?
Mrs. Macfarlane. I've thought of her myself. A very fine woman for her years. A majestic ruin. Beautiful in decay. My dear boy. My very dear boy. I congratulate you.
Oh, don't be absurd. I'm not going to marry that. I'm not going to marry anybody.
Eh? Why, then, how? I don't think I quite follow you.
There is another contingency on which you come into the money. My death.
To be sure. I never thought of that. And, as you say, a man can die but once.
I beg your pardon. I didn't say anything of the kind. You said it. But it's true for all that.
I'm very sorry, but, of course, if you have made up your mind to it.
Why, when a man's lost everything, what is he to live for?
True. True. Nothing whatever. Still...
His money gone. His credit gone. The 3 girls he's engaged to. Gone.
I cannot deny it. It is a hopeless situation. Hopeless. Quite hopeless.
His happiness wrecked. His hopes blighted. The tree upon which the fruit of his heart was growing, all cut down. What is left but suicide?
True. True. You're quite right. Farewell.
Auntie, you seem to think I want to kill myself. I don't want to do anything of the kind. I'd much rather live. Upon my soul I would, if I could think of any reason for living. Auntie, can't you think of something to check the heroic impulse which at this moment is urging me to do a tremendous act of self-destruction?
Something. Of course I can. Say that you throw yourself into the Serpentine, which is handy. Well, it's an easy way of going out the world. I'm told rather pleasant than otherwise. I believe quite an agreeable sensation, I'm given to understand. But you get wet through, and your clothes are absolutely ruined.
For that matter, I could just take my clothes off before I go in.
True. So you could. I never thought of that. You could take them off before you go in. There's no reason why you shouldn't. If you do it in the dark, and that objection falls to the ground. Cheviot, my lion-hearted boy, it's impossible to resist your arguments. They are absolutely convincing.
Miss Symperson exits.
Good lady, Auntie Symperson. I like a woman who's open to conviction. But it's no use. All my attractions are gone, and I cannot live unless I feel I'm fascinating. Still, there's one chance left. Belinda. I haven't tried her. Perhaps, after all, She loved me for myself alone. It isn't likely, but it's barely possible.
Belvawney enters, having overheard the conversation.
Out of the question. You are too late. I represented to her that you were never likely to induce anyone to marry you now that you are penniless. She felt that my income was secure, and she gave me her hand and her heart.
Then all is lost. My last chance is gone. An irrevocable die is cast. Be happy with her, Belvawney. Be happy with her.
Happy? You shall dine with us after our honeymoon and judge for yourself.
No, I shall not be doing that. Long before you return, I shall be beyond the reach of dinners.
I understand. You are going abroad. Well, I don't think you could do better than to try another country.
Belvawney, I'm going to try another world.
What do you mean?
In 2 minutes, I die.
You're joking, of course.
Do I look like a man who jokes? Is my frame of mind one in which a man indulges in trivialities?
But, my dear Cheviot, reflect.
Why should it concern you? You will be happy with Belinda. You will not be well off, but Symperson will, and I dare say she will give you a meal now and then. It will not be a nice meal, but it will be a meal.
Cheviot, you mustn't do this. Pray, reflect. There are interests of magnitude depending on your existence.
My mind is made up.
But I shall be ruined.
There is Belinda's fortune.
She won't have me if I'm ruined. Dear Cheviot, don't do it. It's culpable. It's wrong.
Life is valueless to me without Belinda.
You shall have Belinda. She is much, very much to me, but she is not everything. Your life is very dear to me, and when I think of our old friendship, Cheviot, you shall have everything you like, if you'll only consent to live.
If I thought you were in earnest, but no.
In earnest? Of course I'm in earnest. Why, what's the use of Belinda to me if I'm ruined? Why, she wouldn't look at me.
But perhaps, if I'm ruined, she wouldn't look at me.
Cheviot, I'll confess all, if you'll only live. You are not ruined.
Not ruined?
Not ruined. I invented the statement.
You invented the statement? My dear friend, my very dear friend, I am very much obliged to you. Oh, thank you 1,000 times. Oh, Belvawney, you have made me very, very happy. But what the devil did you mean by circulating such a report about me? How dare you do it, sir? Answer me that, sir.
I did it to gain Belinda's love. I knew that the unselfish creature loved you for your wealth alone.
It was a liberty, sir. It was a liberty. To put it mildly, it was a liberty.
It was. You're quite right. That's the word for it. It was a liberty. But I'll go and undeceive her at once.
Belvawney exits.
Well, as I have recovered my fortune, and with it my tree, I'm about the happiest fellow in the world. My money, my mistress's money, all my own. I believe I could go mad with joy.
Miss Symperson enters wearing all black.
What is the matter?
Hello? You're still alive?
Alive? Yes. Why, is there anything wrong?
No, my dear friend. These clothes are symbolical. They represent my state of mind. After your terrible threat, which I cannot doubt you intended to put at once into execution.
My dear auntie, this is very touching. It unmans me. But cheer up, dear old friend. I have good news for you.
Good news? What do you mean?
I am about to remove the weight of sorrow which hangs so heavily at your heart. Resume your fancy check petticoats. I have consented to live.
Consented to live? Why, sir, this is confounded trifling. I don't understand this line of conduct at all. You threaten to commit suicide. Your friends are dreadfully shocked at first, but eventually their minds become reconciled to the prospect of losing you. They become resigned, even cheerful. And when they have brought themselves into this Christian state of mind, you coolly inform them that you have changed your mind and mean to live. It's not business, sir. It's not business.
But, my dear auntie, I've nothing to commit suicide for. I'm a rich man, and Belinda will, no doubt, accept me with joy and gratitude.
Belinda will do nothing of the kind. She has just left the house with Belvawney.
Left with Belvawney?
In a cab, under the most affectionate circumstances.
Where have they gone?
I don't know. Very likely to get married.
Married?
Yes. Before the registrar.
Oh, I've been sold. I see that now. Belvawney has done me. But I'm not the kind of man who stands for such treatment quietly. Belvawney has found his match. Auntie, they may get married, but they shall not be happy. I'll be revenged on both of them before they're 24 hours older. She marries him because she thinks his income is secure. I'll show her she's wrong. I won't blow out my brains. I'll do worse.
What?
I'll marry.
Marry?
Anybody. I don't care who it is. Well, not that damn Mrs. Macfarlane.
Will Minnie do?
Minnie will do. Send her here.
In one moment, my dear boy. In one moment.
Symperson exits.
Belinda, alone in a cab with Belvawney. It's maddening to think of it. He's got his arm around her waist at this moment, if I know anything of human nature. I can't stand it. I cannot and I will not stand it. I'll write at once to the registrar and tell him she's married. Oh, why am I constant by disposition? Why is it that when I love a girl, I can think of no other girl but that girl, whereas when a girl loves me, she seems to entertain the same degree of affection for mankind at large? I'll never be constant again. Henceforth I will fascinate but to deceive.
Minnie enters.
Mr. Cheviot Hill, Godmother tells me that you wish to speak to me.
I do. Minnie, I have no time to beat around the bush. I must come to the point at once. You rejected me a short time since. I will not pretend that I am pleased with you for rejecting me. On the contrary, I think it was in the worst taste. However, let bygones be bygones. Unforeseen circumstances render it necessary that I should marry at once, and you will do. An early answer will be esteemed, as this is business.
Mr. Hill, dear Godmother assures me that the report about the loss of your money is incorrect. I hope this may be the case, but I cannot forget that the information comes from dear Godmother. Now, dear Godmother is the best, and dearest Godmother in the whole world, but she has a lively imagination, and when she wants to accomplish her purpose, she does not hesitate to invent. I am not quite sure of the word, but I think it is bouncers.
You are quite right. The word is bouncers. Bouncers or bangers, either will do.
Then forgive my little silly fancies, Mr. Hill. But before I listen to your suggestion, I must have the very clearest proof that your position is, in every way, fully assured.
Minnie exits.
Mercenary little donkey, I will not condescend to proof. I renounce her altogether.
Cheviot rings a bell and Maggie enters with Angus and Mrs. Macfarlane.
Maggie, come here. Angus, do take your arm from around that girl's waist. Stand back, and don't you listen. Maggie, 3 months ago I told you that I loved you passionately. Today I tell you that I love you as passionately as ever. I may add that I am still a rich man. What do you say? I must trouble you for an immediate answer, as it is not pleasure, it's business.
Oh, sir, you're o'er late. Oh, Master Cheviot, if I only had kenned it before. Oh, sir, I love you right well. The blood of my heart is nae sae dear to me as thou. Oh, Cheviot, my ain old love, my ain old love.
Poor lassie, it just draws the water from my ee to hear her. Oh, mither, my heart is just breaking. Oh.
But why is it too late? What? You say that you love me. I offer to marry you. My station in life is at least equal to your own. What is to prevent our union?
Oh, sir, you're unco good to poor wee Maggie, but you're too late. For she's placed the matter in her solicitor's hands, and he tells her that an action for breach will just bring damages to the tune of £1,000. There's a laddie waiting outside now to serve the bonny writ on ye.
Oh, no one will marry me. There is a curse upon me. A curse upon me. No one will marry me. No, not no one.
Dinna say that, sir. There's many a woman, nae young, soft, foolish lassie neither, but grown woman of sober age could be more than a mither than a wife to you. And if that's what you want, poor laddie, for you're no equal to taking care of yourself.
Mrs. Macfarlane, you are right. I am a man of quick impulse. I see, I feel, I speak. You are the tree upon which that is to say... No, don't, I can't. One must draw the line somewhere.
Belinda enters with Belvawney, followed by Miss Symperson and Minnie.
Belinda? Can I believe my eyes? You have returned to me. You have not gone off with Belvawney after all. Thank heaven! Thank the heavens!
I thought that, as I came in, I heard you say something about a tree.
You are right. As you entered, I was remarking that I am a man of quick impulse. I see, I feel, I speak. I have 2,000 a year, and I love you passionately. I lay my hand, my heart, and my income all together in one lot at your feet.
Cheviot, I love you with an irresistible fervour that seems to parch my very existence. I love you as I never loved man before, and as I can never hope to love man again. But, in the belief that you were ruined, I went with my own adored Belvawney before the registrar, and that registrar has just made us one.
Bless him for it. Bless him for it.
Belvawney and Belinda embrace.
One word. I have not yet seen the letter that blights my earthly hopes. For form's sake, I trust I may be permitted to cast my eye over that document, as a matter of business. That's all.
Certainly. Here it is. You will find the situation of the cottage described in unmistakable terms.
Belvawney hands the letter to Cheviot, who begins to read it aloud.
In reply to your letter, I have to inform you that Heaven Cottage is certainly in England. The deeds relating to the property place this beyond all question. Thank you. I am satisfied.
Mrs. Symperson leans over and reads the letter over Cheviot's shoulder.
Turn over.
Why should I? What good would it do? Oh, I see. I beg your pardon.
Cheviot turns the letter over.
Oh, voila.
What is
What's
it?
this?
P.S. I may add that the borderline runs through the property. The cottage is undoubtedly in England, though the garden is in Scotland.
And we were married in the garden.
Belinda, we were married in the garden.
Belinda leaves Belvawney and heads over to embrace Cheviot.
Belinda, stop a bit. Don't leave me like this.
Belvawney, I love you with an intensity of devotion that I firmly believe will last while I live. But dear Cheviot is my husband now. He has a claim upon me which it would be impossible, nay, criminal, to resist. Farewell, Belvawney. Minnie may yet be yours.
Belvawney sobs and turns to Minnie, who comforts him.
Cheviot, my husband, my own old love, if the devotion of a lifetime can atone for the misery of the last few days, it is yours, with every wifely sentiment of pride, gratitude, admiration, and love.
Oh, my own, tender blossom of my budding hopes, star of my life, essence of happiness, the tree upon which the fruit of my heart is growing, my past, my present, my to come.
Cheviot embraces Belinda. Belvawney is being comforted by Minnie. Angus is solacing Maggie, and Mrs. Macfarlane turns to lean on Miss Symperson. The end. You have been listening to Engaged, performed by Newcastle University Gilbert and Sullivan Society. Cheviot Hill, voiced by Luke Grainge. Belvawney, voiced by Nads Shams. Miss Symperson, voiced by Jessica Coates. Angus Macalister, voiced by Ben Gardner. Major McGillicuddy, voiced by Eleanor Smith. Belinda Treherne, voiced by Olivia Shepherd. Minnie, voiced by Christina Clifford. Mrs. Macfarlane, voiced by Susie Fletcher. Maggie, voiced by Olivia Irving-Wilson. Parker, voiced by Inés Antunes. Narrated by Emily Wright and directed by Georgi Holter.